What's your automatic default? Expecting good things or expecting struggle? Both may exist in our human experience, yet what we focus on tends to grow.
Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome to this week's Q&A. How expecting the best can serve your dreams. As I'm recording this, it's later in the evening, and typically I record these episodes in the afternoon during the week. And it's been a very full time of events and extra things on my plate, which I've totally been loving. And as a result, I've needed to do more in less time. So I'm taking advantage of some quiet space where I'm able to be still with my thoughts and share some ideas that have been coming through me that I wanted to share with you. And as I'm talking about this, I'm actually sitting on my couch, all snuggled up, and my cat is curled up in a tiny, tight little ball just on the other side of the couch. It's so cute. He's buried his head right into his paws, and he was just giving himself a bath while I was plugging all of this stuff in. It's the sweetest thing ever. So wherever you are, I hope you're feeling good. And as I'm trying to get all of these things put together so that I can move through the full week ahead, I find myself having some expectations. When we have a full plate, it's very easy for us to expect the worst. Like, oh no, what if this happens? What if I don't complete this thing? What if something goes wrong? There's a full moon coming. What if the tech doesn't work? Like, we get ourselves spun into a ball about these things that can happen. And it's interesting to see, what is our set point? Do we find ourselves moving through life expecting the worst or expecting the best, or just expecting status quo, or not really having expectations and yet looking and seeing instead what interesting things will come and surprise us? What can we learn? This is very interesting. As I talk to people, I realize we all have these different perspectives. So I wanted to talk about it today because it got me looking back in time at why I expect things the way that I expect them. And perhaps as you're listening to me share some stories, you will start looking at why you expect things the way that you do. I am really trying at this place in my life intentionally to make it a practice to implement the idea that I can expect the best, that it is safe for me to expect the best. And when I say that, it feels kind of controversial because I was taught, expect the worst, pray for the best, but this way you'll never be disappointed because you're not getting your hopes up. And through my life, whenever I would think that way, it actually had me looking for bad results, bad things to happen. So instead I chose, I'm just going to expect the best, because when I do that, I start seeing good things. I'm not sure everyone else feels this way, but it's how I feel. And of course, along with that comes the caveat that things are not always going to go according to my desires, no matter what I'm expecting. And that is where my faith comes in. And there's a reason for everything that happens, even if I don't understand what that reason is. If you've followed me long enough, you'll know that I've experienced, like many of us have, serious, deep losses and heartbreak, prayers that have seemingly gone unanswered, and yet I'm still here. And I know in my heart, because I've witnessed it and experienced it, that even after the darkest times, good things are still possible. And frankly, even during what appear to be the darkest times, good things still happen. We do need to be present to the various things happening in our life at any given time, whether it is someone's celebration, someone's grieving, someone's joy, someone's sorrow or overwhelm. These are things we can be there for, and we can be there for ourselves through those things also, not bypassing or ignoring the experience and just saying, oh, put on a happy face and smile no matter what. That's not what I'm talking about. I feel like that's kind of toxic optimism in a sense, because it's not honoring what your soul needs in that moment. What I'm talking about is either in the midst of it or after it or throughout your life, allowing hope to rise in you, allowing positive expectations to be part of your strategy for living. Too often in my own life, parts of my younger life, and in so many people who I've witnessed through my life, the ongoing expectation is things are only going to get worse. Things are always going to be bad. Nothing's ever going to work out. And those types of thoughts, while in some cases may feel very true, and we may see evidence that that's true, because wherever we look for evidence, we will find it. That's where we need to look around us to remind ourselves there is also evidence that hope is possible, that good things can come, that the sun will rise, that the rain will stop, that the snow will melt. And like what I'm seeing now, the trees will burst into new life and leaves will be covered everywhere and the grass will be green and flowers will start blooming. And man, that feels amazing after what feels like a long winter. We can feel like that in our souls where we're experiencing a very long winter, and looking for hope around us is something that can fuel our expectation of better things to come. It often needs to start in our mind. It needs to start in our heart. And like I said, looking to nature is a wonderful way to get us moving in that direction. So how does expecting the best serve your dreams? When you are wanting to achieve something in your life, whether you have begun a new career and you don't know how you're going to take the next steps, you don't know what the next steps are to take, you've never done this particular thing, it's a brand new venture, or whether you are entrusting your heart to someone new and it feels very foreign to you and scary, or whether it's your health, something new that you're doing there, it's all the same thing. Our minds fuel our actions in many cases. So looking around us for evidence that the good is possible is a wonderful way to move us forward. And when we start seeing what's possible, we start to trust more and our actions start to align with that trust. And we start to do the things to attract what it is we're after, whether it is the confidence, the clients, the motivation to move our bodies regularly, to get the sleep we need, all of those things. It all starts with what we expect for ourselves. Too often in my life, I have seen myself talk myself out of things and look at only the evidence of what didn't work in the past. That's helpful because that's how we learn. We learn from our mistakes, and failure is a beautiful teacher, absolutely. I love to invite people, myself included, into looking at what has worked in the past for me, what I've done well, and celebrating it. Lately, I've been talking with some women where they've been sharing how celebration is something that we don't do enough of. We have somehow been programmed to believe that it's too self-centered to celebrate ourselves. So we just keep moving on to the next thing. When we complete something, we do it well. Okay, that's great. Move on. There's something about celebrating that locks in the goodness that we have achieved. In fact, a bunch of years ago, someone shared with me that they love to keep a little record, whether it's written in a journal or somewhere on their computer or in the notes on their phone, of messages from people and notes that are celebrating them and thanking them for the good work they've done, the good friend they've been, whatever it is, whether it was a text or something, they keep them all in one little spot. And then they go and they look back on that when they need a boost to remind themselves they actually have accomplished something. And perhaps now that's great fuel for them to expect better in the future as well. If they've done it before, they can do it again. And I'm willing to say, if you look back, will see the same thing. You've accomplished some good things and you can rest on that. We all have experiences where we've not done well at something, but we've also had many experiences where we've done amazingly, knocked it out of the park. I invite you to go back and look at those things that you did well, the things you're proud of, and make space to celebrate them. Because isn't that a wonderful thing to do? Doesn't that make you feel good? You may feel like you want to do it on your own, but I invite you actually to do something like that with a good friend, someone who is on the same trajectory of wanting to grow and move into new spaces and challenge themselves as well, because celebrating will help us get there in a more enjoyable way, remembering the goodness that we can actually create from within ourselves and make an impact with. Something I'm asked often from people in my world is how I stay energized and optimistic. It has been a practice over many years, growing up and not knowing it at the time, but with a father who struggled with mental health. I always felt compelled to bring joy into the space. And this took on many forms: singing, being helpful and affectionate. And somehow from that early age, I saw the shift that being joyful could make in a space. That became part of my default setting. Like all things, I have had to recalibrate this part of me as I realize that other people's energy is not my responsibility, yet there were gifts from that experience. I'm curious to know, what can you actually expect good things around in your life? I invite you to let that be your focus. Just try it on for a day and let me know how it goes. I would love to hear. The best way to contact me these days is to text me. I realize that optimism takes practice at times, and what has helped me for many years has been spending time with people and reading or listening to things that uplifted me. It's something that I really love to do. And I also enjoy sharing inspirational quotes and mantras that help elevate your mood and remind you of the miracle that you are. So if you'd like a pick-me-up and to gain resilience in your days, text the word CONNECT to 647-424-3274 to get weekday self-care mantras that keep your well-being and rituals top of mind and that are inspirational as well. They're really, really short, very tiny 2-line text a few days a week. And it's a free gift that I love to share with you to elevate your day. I love the responses that I get and the difference that it makes in people's day when they shift their focus with a small thought of what's possible for them. And frankly, when I'm putting these messages out, it's elevating me. It's a wonderful practice. And I feel even more enjoyment from sharing it with other people. So text the word CONNECT to 647-424-3274, and you can let me know what resonates from you from this and other episodes as well. It helps me make sure I'm delivering the best content for you, and it's super fun to hear from who's listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and week, expecting some goodness to come your way that will fuel you to shine your light and pass it on. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to see you on the next episode next week. Big blessings.
Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.